don't have the guts to be what you want to be.
Who was King Blue? King Blue was a Chickasaw freedman. Some might say he was a black Indian or Aboriginal. But what he really was, he was an activist for people of African descent in Indian territory. One person who picked up the torch in the fight for the rights of people of African descent in Indian territory is Chief Amusan, who was the president of the African Ancestral Society of Tulsa. He recently testified in front of a Judiciary House Committee where he mentions King Blue. He makes reference to him being on the same journey as King Blue and Isaac Alexander when they wrote in 1882 the Memorial of the Chickasaw Freedmen. Written in 1882, this piece is one of the most eloquent documents written by freedmen leaders, King Blue and Isaac Alexander. They made an appeal in the form of a document called A Memorial of the Chickasaw Freedmen. In this document, their plight and their plea for assistance from the United States is felt by the reader. It is produced on this page in its entirety. I'm not going to read all of this because it's a lot, but like always, the link will be in the description. Let's go over a couple of things, because King Blue and Isaac Alexander, they knew they was of African descent because they say things like this: the undersigned, your memorialists, respectfully show that they are residents of Chickasaw Nation and area, persons of African descent, and were born and bred in the said nation. They make numerous references to being of African descent. They even bring up Article 3 of the 1866 treaties with the 5 civilized tribes that talk about giving rights to people of African descent. And they just go on and on and on. And they use the word African 22 times in this document. And you can see at the bottom it's signed by King Blue and Isaac Alexander. Most people only know of the King Blue who led his fellow Negroes into rebellion in Chickasaw Nation. But prior to that, he was a little bit more diplomatic, as you can see, with his approach in writing to the United States government. These are all examples of Pan-Africanism, whether it was violence or non-violence. It's all about coming together as a unit for the betterment of the whole. Like I always say, it's not a coincidence that the conscious community is not so conscious, especially those pushing that Black Americans are not of African descent. No matter where you go in history, when you're looking at Black America, you will always find these people reminding you and I that they are of African descent.
Break the lane, I'm trying to make a name, but my sick thoughts got me by my brain. I'm searching for my, how ironic how we hustle for the same, but get bracelets for trying to get a chain, man.